Welcome back to another episode of the Naturals Pod with your boy, Uncle Kyle. Let's get into it. Beforehand, get it ready to go. All right. Welcome to this episode of the Naturals Pod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle. Today we have a very special guest returning for his first time. He's handsome. He acts. He does comedy. He played college football. He's a regular half Pakistani slice of American apple pie. Welcome back, Josh.
What an
Rahman.
introduction, man.
Yeah. I always try to stunt with the intros.
Now, was that like an improvisation or did you like memorize that?
I was formulating it earlier.
It was good.
Yeah,
That was very
I'm glad
good.
you liked it.
Yeah,
man.
that was a great introduction, man.
Everybody likes to be hyped up. I have two dreams that I need to fulfill. One, I want to be like somebody's hype man when they're like getting ready to do like a MMA or a boxing fight.
Yeah, like a Bruce Buffer.
Absolutely.
That
man.
is my
He's the king of
favorite
that
part
shit.
of those UFC shows. It's just waiting for Bruce Buffer to announce like the final fighters for the main event. It just gets me so hyped.
Oh yeah. He gets like really into that too. He does all kinds of stretching.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like warming up and jumping up like my
Doing his like
man's-
vocal exercises and shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I'm like, my man's about to do the intro of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Getting one from him would be cool. And just like being able to do a walkout. I don't know about like doing the actual fighting shit, but
Yeah.
the walkout would be dope.
Yeah, that is cool. Have you ever been to like a UFC event?
Live? Never. Not one single time.
If you get a chance to go, they're some of the most spectacular sporting events I think you can go to.
I have been to a couple of MMA fights, which it was fun because they were the more lower level ones.
Right.
Like I had buddies that I worked with, they were just, like going through the ranks. I don't know if any of them ever made it to the UFC level.
That's a hard fucking road, man.
But there's a lot of dedication to that. I have a great respect for it. I could never, dude.
Yeah.
I could never.
It's also like a crazy life decision to make. Like I'm just gonna attempt to whoop people's asses for a living and like get my ass whooped on a regular basis, and it might not work out. You know?
Or maybe you don't, man. There have been people that have done it that have kind of been relatively unscathed, whether it be because they got like some crazy technique. Ronda Rousey was like a fucking Terminator for the longest time, dude. She was just arm barring the world, dude.
What ended up happening to her? I heard it was like she wasn't that great of a striker, and I guess that got exposed, and then
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
She was like big on the grappling and stuff, but also the Holly Holm chick face kicked her into another dimension, which is hilarious because that was like every screenshot of every headline of every article about the fight is her just like after getting kicked in the head. And then I think she fought that Juliana Pena chick who's like a scary lesbian, like super duper like top ultra. I would never want to fight her.
No,
she'd
not
kill
at all.
you.
Not at all. Yeah, I remember when I was playing football, there was like a group of guys, like big offensive linemen that were saying that like they could beat Ronda Rousey in a fight, and I'm just like, you guys are fucking idiots if you think that you could do that.
Yeah, that's like that peak testosterone, like overconfident. I could throw that ball over that fucking mountains over there, boy. Like, you know.
No, and like I can kind of understand like the bet or like just like the thought process. Like, okay, I'm like a 6'5", 300-pound dude, and she's like however like big she is in a woman. But I still feel like if you're like a fighter in that caliber, she just has to get you in an arm bar and like you'd be fucking finished.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that. I do, man. I've gotten into, I don't know about you, I've gotten into like maybe a handful of scraps in my life. I hurt myself at work constantly when I am working, which I haven't been for like the majority of the time of doing this fucking podcast. It's just kind of weird, but you know, it is what it is. But no, I'm good on all of that, and especially the wrestling portion of it. Like I don't like to be restrained. I really don't like that. And then also, like, I definitely don't want somebody choking me. I have had that happen before.
Yeah.
and it was not fun.
Right.
I definitely poked him in his eye with my thumb to get him off of me because he was like straight like knocking it in.
And I feel like the thing is, it's like you never really know who can fight and who can't fight. And I feel like a lot of people, you know, like they end up learning the hard way because like just like so many people are doing jiu-jitsu, so many people are doing like taekwondo or some kind of like martial art because like it's very popular right now. And someone like very unassuming like might be like a 3rd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu.
No.
And like just to run up on someone and try to fight anyone in today's society, I feel like would be like incredibly foolish.
Oh, for so many reasons, especially in Nevada, because you don't know who has a fucking gun. Like, I treat everybody like they have a gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially like on, like, wasn't like recently on like the I-15, there was like, they shut it down, like in front of the Aria or something, like on the search of the I-15, because there was like a road rage incident.
Yeah, there was like a full-blown shootout or something, they said. I'll have to like look that up.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. I also feel like it's like something about like the city of Las Vegas. Like there's something in the water here that just like, I feel like people here, there's just like a screw loose.
It's radiation. That's what
I think, dude. I think there might be something to that. I really think there might be something to that because it's like it wasn't like what, like 40, 50 years ago. Like you see pictures. I was at the atomic bomb testing museum like a couple months ago with my girlfriend. But they had like the pictures of like families on like Fremont Street or whatever it was with like these like a mom and a dad and like their little kid and they're going like, look at that son, and it's a mushroom cloud in the background. And it's like that was like what, like 60 years ago, and like the half-life of uranium is like, I don't know, however many thousands of years. Like, yeah, that's got to be coursing through like our pores constantly.
100%. People are not made the same way they were previously. Plus, I think they still have a ton of that shit stashed in the mountain at Yucca Mountain, which they don't even talk about that anymore. I remember when I was in like middle school and stuff, that was a big deal, them getting approval for that project to bury all that radioactive material.
Right.
Even as a kid, you're like, it doesn't sound great.
Yeah, this certainly won't be getting into the water supply.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
God.
Especially when we have so little of it out here and we're sending like the majority of it to California.
Yeah. It's interesting how
Lake meat is fucking gross, so I don't want that in water.
Yeah.
Anyways. California, you can have it.
That's where Jimmy Hoffa is, probably.
Speaking of California, are we doing anything with the acting? I know that you've been doing a lot of shows lately.
Not a whole lot lately, man. You know, ever since the strike happened and finished up however many months ago, I haven't really been getting sent like all that many auditions. I've been doing like commercial stuff and whatnot, but I'm working on like a couple scripts with my buddy Jason Harris, if you know who that is.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's got like a couple projects he's trying to get off the ground. I'm trying to help out with those, and I'm kind of doing like a bit of like my own writing. I think like we kind of talked about it last time on the podcast. Like with acting, like just to be like strictly an actor, it's like there are so many like other people that have to like be able to like put you on, you know, like all these other hoops or like all these other like hurdles that like you're not necessarily like able to clear yourself. It's like you have to wait.
You
for
have to
other
be
people.
Multifaceted if you're going to be in entertainment now. You have to. You can't just be one thing. You gotta have like a multi. You got to be a Swiss Army knife of entertainment.
A multi-hyphenate, I think, is the word that people are using. Yeah, actor, producer, whatever. Yeah, but no, I've just been like focused like on stand-up comedy, and I know like the acting opportunities will come, like if I just keep like
Hollywood 2.0, dude. They're doing it. They're spending billions of dollars to build these studios and big properties and stuff. So that's exciting. Write them scripts, dude.
No, I know.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think that's like a better avenue that I want to take, because like in doing stand-up comedy, it's like you're writing every single day. So it's like you're learning how to do that, and I already like know how to act, and so I mean, in an ideal world, I would like write and perform in my own movies, and that's kind of like the direction.
Fuck yeah, Tyler Perry it. Let's go, dude.
You're gonna see me in a wig.
If you make your own version of Medea, dude, I'll fucking be there for it, Josh. That'd be hilarious.
Get canceled instantly.
No blackface. You can be a white grandma.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, but all that stuff will will come eventually. It's going to be interesting to me to see like how AI plays into the future of Hollywood and movie making and scripts and stuff. Have you played around with much of that stuff?
Very minimally. Like one of the few things I did, and I've mentioned it a few times, is I had it make me a Jedi character and like give it a name, and I just fed like my own personal attributes into it. It was pretty badass.
Yeah.
But I have thought about it, especially with the podcast, because there's so many where they'll like make clips and all this stuff. But for me, especially with the YouTube shit, like there's just so many. I can't tell you how many videos I've watched.
That was a good
Excuse me, leave it in. About like, you know, little hacks and things to generate growth. But a lot of it is like putting videos out that aren't you. And it's like, I want the channel to be my content and be me. I want it to grow because of me, not because of some cheesy bullshit.
I see.
Or because I turned on Google ads and checked yes on India, and you know they got to come flooding in. No disrespect to India or anything, but you know typically they're like dead accounts, like they're like bot farms and stuff from India that you're getting, and Google itself is pushing quickly.
Yeah. I got you. I was talking about like more specifically with like what they're doing with like movies and like.
I don't like it. I don't want them like just doing the whole thing. Not a fan. You?
It's complicated because I think, you know, like SAG and all the other unions were like fighting really hard to get like constraints on it, and I think like they definitely should. But
as they should.
Yeah, but it's, I think it's also one of those things where like it's not gonna go away. Like AI is like here to stay.
Agreed. Yep.
And it's just gonna get better and better and better. And I think what's gonna need to happen eventually, whether we want it to or not, is we're gonna have to like find a way to like work with it. Like it's scary to like talk about it as if it's like this like other entity, like this other like life form,
just
right?
Looking at all the electronics in this room.
Yeah, and like we're coming for you. You will work with us.
Will you conform to our new society?
Kyle.
Oh shit! Like, okay, from a convenience standpoint, yes. If it like streamlines life and makes certain things easier, as long as it doesn't try to enslave us, sure, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, man. They came out with the movie Terminator 2 fucking Judgment Day way before AI was, I believe, ever. Maybe it was conceptually a thing at that time, but it wasn't like a thing like it is now. Like,
I think you're exactly right.
On the fucking phone.
Yeah, and I was just listening, I was listening to this podcast, or I guess it was more of like a video essay by this channel called Wendover Productions. Shout out Wendover Productions. Have you seen any of their videos?
I have checked out that
They're
channel.
Great. Yeah,
I love a good video.
They're
essay,
good, man. And
fuck, dude.
Yeah, and what I like about them is they take like 2 to 3 weeks like in between like videos, and they're just like so random. They'll do one about like low budget airlines, and then one about like the fall of the Soviet Union. It's just like I just really like how detailed they are about whatever subject they're talking about.
People are doing amazing shit on YouTube. Some of the other channels, we'll put a pin in this because I have a story to tell you later on. But like, my hat's off to the people that are doing the video essays like we're talking about. Like, you put a lot of work into that, and it shows.
Yeah.
It's very well produced, and it's entertaining. Like, I would sit there and watch a 2-hour video, and I'd be like, wow, that was great. Not like, holy shit, where did 2 hours go? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Fuck, I love it.
It's so good. And one of the videos that I watched recently, just to circle back to the thing about like the Terminator and human destroying machines, was that even like some of the drones that they're using now, it's like they can like lock on to see if something is like an enemy, and they can just like shoot and like you know, execute the target with like something like 99% efficiency, which is literally a scene right out of the Terminator. It's like whenever like whatever the villain's like his like face goes red or whatever, and like he's locking onto the target and it just shoots. Like that's literally what's happening now.
Okay, so what would you be more terrified of? A more humanoid robot or, and I already think the terrifying shit is here, those Boston Dynamic ones that look like dogs.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine like that thing having a spear attached to it or a gun on its back, and you're like,
they already have those. Yeah, they already have those. Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult because I mean maybe like if we end up going to war with like other countries in like 50 years from now, or 10 years from now, or like 5 years from now.
Just take me quick, dude. Yeah. Drop one of those bombs right here.
But maybe it's like we just send our robots to fight our robots, right? And so then like, you know, you're taking like humanity out of the like equation, right? And just robots fighting robots.
This is like a Wall-E type scenario. Have you ever watched that?
No, but I need to.
Oh, you should watch Wall-E.
I need to.
It is very well executed and also kind of frightening because like the people in it, basically the premise of the movie is we trashed the planet. Mm-hmm. The robots got left behind to clean it up while we went on a little spacecation, did a few laps around the galaxy, and then come back to Earth, and ta-da, it's been cleaned up by the robots. But people just have become these fat turd jelly beans who sit on futuristic levitating rascal scooters, and they're just like, and they, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it sounds it's pretty prescient, dude. Like that is kind of what's like happening. And like, and that I think is the argument against like AI and like the like you know, over robotification, if that's a word, of society, is that humans, like, we need to do something. You know, I feel like that with AI there's like this push to just like completely eliminate all like, you know, busy work, like, you know, so there's going to be like no need for anyone to like work regular jobs. And there's going to be like time for freedom, and like people will be able to do whatever they want. They'll be able to have more time for like leisure and vacation and stuff. But I feel like humans, like, we need to like carry a load. Like there needs to be like we need to feel like we have like a purpose in life.
Yeah, 100%. That's why they say like, you know, people die relatively quickly after they retire and stuff. I would keep it moving. You gotta have shit to do. My dad's probably gonna retire in the next couple years. He's a big hobby guy. We do a lot of them together. But yeah, you gotta keep it moving. And that's like, okay, that sounds all fine and dandy. Like, okay, the machines are taking care of all of this shit for us, so we have a lot more free time now. We can have fun. We can paint or sculpt or frolic through the meadow naked or whatever the fuck we want to do.
That would be fun for like 4 days, and then you'd be like, and then it's like, what next?
Nah.
Yeah, I think that's what I worry about. But I mean, I think like any crazy new technology, like there's going to be pros and cons to it. But I mean, we don't really have a choice, dude. It's coming.
Yeah, I mean, so some things are cool. This isn't AI related, but like for me, there's companies that make these little like exo suits that you can wear in construction where it holds your arms up for you. So if you're doing a lot of overhead work, the brace holds the weight of your arms. So that way you don't get fatigued. You can just keep going. So one thing, it's kind of like turning you into more of a super slave when you're at work, but also it is kind of awesome, you know, because like for me, with my job, it's pretty like rough on the body, you know. You're climbing.
You're an electrician, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So not as hardcore as like a lot of the other trades, but still, I mean, it's a tough gig.
I feel like jobs like electricians, like mechanics, and like AC technicians, those are actually going to be the jobs that are safe. Which like no one thought about that. Like no one thought. I have this bit that I'm trying to work out. Like everyone thought that like AI was gonna like come for like the dishwashers and like the truck drivers, but it's going after like the lawyers and accountants, dude. Yeah.
That is a thing.
Yeah. I feel, and like soon, like the only like you're gonna see just a bunch of like unemployed finance bros in Patagonia puffer jackets, just being in the figure. Yo, AI, do you know who our dads are? We're fucking sick of this shit, Sam Altman.
I saw that guy immediately. His name is Chad. I saw the jacket, the whole thing.
Dude, the Chads and the Brads are going to be the ones that are unemployed, though. That's crazy. No one thought that. No one thought, because like you can just like go to ChatGPT and like say, okay, like do like the credit balance. I don't know. I'm not a fucking accountant, but like just like balance this. You can give it a set of
instructions. There's a lot of people that are doing that. The e-commerce thing, like. Again, I get it. For the people that want to do that little hustle, okay. For me, it's just kind of cheese because it's not once again, it's not real. There's nothing special about what you're doing.
Right.
you're manipulating this tool and it is enabling you to do all this stuff and essentially coaching you through it. The computer is fucking telling you what to do. This isn't the way we intended it.
Nope.
When fucking Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Steve Wozniak and whoever else was creating computers in the early days, we were supposed to be in control, weren't we, boys? Like, that's how you got so fucking rich.
Oops.
Oh god.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's what happens when you have like technology like that and just gets like let out of the box. You never know, because I mean, like, computers in, like, you know, historically are still like a pretty new creation, right? It's like the first Mac was like what, like 40 years ago?
I don't know. Are they? Like, are they?
What?
Are they? Isn't it just insane to you? Like, if you saw, I have a lot of like techie stuff that pops up in my algo on YouTube for like shorts, and it'll have like super macro views of a tiny microchip, and you can see all the little connections, and you're like, who the fuck figured that out?
Yeah.
How did they figure out how to do that? It just seems like not that long ago we were rocking horse-drawn carriages, and now we're flying into fucking space like commercially, casually. So
basically, it was like the time between us like being in wagons and like the first automobile was like less time than the first automobile and like getting to the moon.
And we've made huge technological leaps, but also it's like there was technically guns or firearms, or they had muskets like as far back as the 1300s and shit. But it's like, you know, it's the whole aliens and all the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. How are we kind of cave people for millions of years, and then like within a couple thousand, it's like boop boop, we figured it out.
Yeah,
we're going to space, and like what?
Magic mushrooms. No.
Love them. That's how Elon does it. I'm convinced he's on a lot of drugs.
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to be if you're gonna run like as many like organizations as he does, or he's an alien, or he's like an alien like who has cloaking abilities, and he's like he's been sent by the like Galactic Federation or whatever. It's like, okay,
I'd be inclined to believe that. I feel like Elon would be a fair leader. You know, Elon. Be a fair leader.
Yeah, he's a leader, or he's just like, or maybe he's just trying to bring Earth into the realm of
the universe and shit. That's we've talked about this with multiple people on the pod. I'm kind of like more likely to agree with that, where there are presences out in the universe. We're essentially like a very young race and civilization.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of checking us out, and they're like, we'll bring you into the fold when you get it. But if you see what's going on with our political system in America, one peek into that, maybe like, they're not fucking ready, dude.
Yeah.
We're not. We're not bringing them into the Galactic Federation.
Let's give it till 2025 at least. Just see how this thing sorts out. I hope so, dude. I hope there are aliens out there, and I hope that they reveal themselves in our lifetime. I feel like it would take something like that, for the entire world to like cohese in a good way. Like, it would take like an undeniable alien sighting that no one on Earth can deny, and like that would be the thing that would get like Russia talking to North Korea, and like us, you know, talking with Cuba or like whoever like our enemies are. I think they'd have
to be attacking us for us to be that diplomatic, because everybody would try to keep it real.
Yeah,
hush.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's what it takes.
As long as they don't have giant, like, Independence Day space rays that can decimate an entire, you know, 3-block area or whatever, then we'll be all right.
Yeah. We'll see.
I've had, like, weird shit. I've talked about that on the pod, too. I've had weird shit happen. You never had any weird shit happen? Any strange encounters you're like, ooh, that was a little creepy?
I've seen a UFO.
Hit us with the details.
And at least 2 of my friends from elementary school, middle school, and high school. I think we saw it when we were in.
I'm gonna need you to contact these people to corroborate this story.
No, yeah. They will. They will. I promise you. So it was like me and like 3 to 5 of like my very close friends. We must have been in 7th grade. It was like July 07 or July, like the summer between 7th and 8th grade, I think is when it was. And we were fucking around on top of the roof of our old elementary school. Just, you know, doing hood rat shit. What a bunch of
as you
kids,
do.
yeah, growing up in the suburbs of Sugar Land, Texas,
do
when you're in between 7th and 8th grade. And we were just up there fucking around, and then one of my friends, it was either Mitchell or Scott, he's like, what is that? And we all turn and look, and I shit you not, Kyle, there's this green orb in the sky, and it's like emanating. It looks like this. It looks like a green like neon light.
And this was at nighttime, or
this was at nighttime.
No,
this was at nighttime. Probably like 10 p.m. or so, and it was like right above us, and like we all like I can't remember however many how many of us were on the roof, but like we all looked and we all saw it, and we were like, oh, and then like as soon as like it saw us see it, it went shoo, and it shot down to the horizon of the sky and disappeared, and we all were just like, what the fuck was that?
Nah.
And we all saw it, and I talk about it still today. Like I go camping with at least 2 of those guys once a year, and I bring it up every single camping trip, and they're like, yeah, dude, like we saw it.
Camping is where you get abducted. I don't know why you would talk about that on a camping trip.
A camping trip? Because I want to get abducted.
Nah, not me, man. I also similarly had like a pretty creepy experience. I was out in the desert. I was alone. This was like right after I graduated high school. My high school girlfriend had like broke up with me. I was at a crossroads in life, and essentially I was out in the pitch black in the middle of nowhere, and there was somebody there, but I couldn't see them. I could just see them like in silhouette, because it was out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and the only light that was on was the dome light in the car that I had, and I was like sitting on the hood, so I couldn't see them well. But they told me like things about myself and like shit about my future and stuff that like there's no possible way that they would just randomly know about it.
Wait, hold on. So you were in the woods and
no, out in the desert, middle of nowhere. This was here. Yeah.
Gotcha. And wait, hold on. And like this thing came up to you and started like talking to you?
They just kind of approached. Like I could hear like somebody walking on gravel. Like if you're in the desert, you could hear somebody walking up to you. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And they seemed like they had a crutch. And this was way, way the fuck out there. So I'm kind of like, why is this crippled woman
Were you high?
Hobbling out in the middle? No, not at this, not this time, not this time. But yeah, and it was the weirdest thing. And then it was one of those things where I did like a double take, because you had a really good view of the city skyline from this spot previously. They were building shit,
right,
and houses that nobody's gonna buy or can afford everywhere, unfortunately. But it was a great view, and like there was kind of a pause in the conversation. I turned away, looked back, gone.
Wow,
gone.
That's crazy. You know, people who are like climbing Mount Everest or are in really dire straits, like in the wilderness, report something similar. Like I think that there are people like who are climbing Mount Everest or something, or like, you know, or like maybe like that stuck, and like whether or not they're going to survive is kind of like in the air.
You could see dead bodies along the trail. Well, I don't know why the fuck people climb Everest or mountains. Like, it's wild.
Just the human drive for
potential death.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like these people, like they hallucinate like voices like beside them.
No.
And like you ask them afterwards, it's like, yeah, there was like I felt like this presence of like a person like standing right next to me and like walking with me like the entire time, and then I'm like, oh, where do they go? It's where the human mind is a crazy thing, man.
Well, I mean, I'm open to multiple beliefs. I've also had plenty of other experiences that seemed a lot more spiritual. Like my grandpa on my maternal grandfather, we called him Pop. Mm-hmm. He passed. I think I was like 10 years old when he passed, but they lived with us in this house for like a period of time. Mm-hmm. And at night he would come in and sit on the foot of the bed and just like sit there and just look at me, you know, just a loving grandfather, no ditty. There's no creepy shit going on. But, you know, and he passed, and like for years after that, this hasn't happened in quite a while. I think I'm a little too old to get this magic, but for the longest time, for years after he passed, every once in a while it just felt like somebody, and he was the only person that ever did that too. It would feel like somebody was sitting on the foot of the bed, and I'm like, oh, fucking Pop's checking in, you know, saying what's up.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that last time? Are you religious at all, or are you just spiritual?
You know, I don't like necessarily like fully adhere to any like standard religion.
Yeah.
But
okay.
but I would definitely consider myself like a religious person. I 100% believe that there's like a greater order to the universe and the world that's beyond probably any of our understandings.
No. And I don't really believe in the religious constraints. I respect everybody's different things.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised Catholic. I'm used to that. I like Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced a good version of that. There,
Sure.
not any of the negative things. Not even necessarily sexual, but just there's a lot of people that have beef with the Catholic Church.
Sure.
I do not.
Sure.
That's one thing that's also been like popping up a lot on my YouTube is like rich pastors of ultra churches.
Oh my God. Those guys have existed forever, though. Like they've always existed. There have always been people that have used like the word of God as a means to enrich themselves. Yeah, I'm reading this book right now by a couple named Will and Ariel Durant. They wrote this really, really, really in-depth book series called The Story of Civilization. 11 volumes.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. Those names sound familiar.
All the way from Sumeria, like up to like the age of Napoleon. And I just finished reading the chapter on the Sumerians, which is like the first instance of like organized civilization that at least we know of. And they had these entities, I think they were called like the Patses or something like that, is like the English translation. But they were like priest teachers. And they were the wealthiest people in Sumeria because like they like were in control of like all like the wealth and the commerce, and like everyone came to them because they were like they were like the people who like connected with God. And so like
the vessels.
Yeah, and then you know fast forward to like the Middle Ages and like the Spanish Inquisition and stuff, and you had like the Pope was like the richest person, and all the people like that surrounded themselves with like the papacy, and it's like you have to pay money in order to get like salvation. Like the
Catholic Church was grimy.
Yeah,
has been in the past. We don't love that. I'm not gonna say I'm a big fan of that, but you know.
But I mean like it's the same thing with like all religious like institutions always end up getting like corrupted eventually. But it's like but it's just like part of the process, you know? It's like humans, like it's like we're humans trying to connect with something like greater, and like the human qualities of us are going to like show up.
That's not even just religion. I mean, that's straight up in politics too. That's why I've never in my life been like I want to be super rich and I want to be in charge of this and that. Like, no, I just want to be in charge of myself and like be able to take care of people that I care about. And I mean, truthfully, like, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I got my little family. They don't necessarily need me to take care of them. But like, if I did well, I'd kind of take care of them and then take care of other people because I can't take that shit with me.
On
the next part of the journey. So,
that's all you got to do, man. Yeah, that's all you really have to do. And if everyone in the world did that,
put it all
would be a great place.
Yeah,
man,
for sure. Okay, so we're gonna circle back. We started talking about voice essays, and I watched this video that was 2 hours long. It captivated me. It's at the time that this is coming out, it will have been out for like around a month. At the time of recording, it's been like maybe a week and a half. But are you a video game guy? You ever play video games?
You know, I used to. The last game that I really played seriously was Fallout 4.
Okay.
The most recent
Great
Fallout.
game.
Yeah. That's the only video game that like I'll nerd out with. I think like when Fallout 5 comes out, I might have to consider like buying an Xbox or PlayStation, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Whatever latest version is out, because I love those games so much. But other than that, not really. Like not in the last like 15 years.
Okay. Never played like a first-person shooter like
Call
of Duty?
Like 15 years ago, like I was with the same guys that I saw the UFO with. we used to play
Milestone
like Nazi zombies
friends.
and
We
shit.
Did all that.
Dude.
Toten or whatever that was called. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. I miss those days. But like no, I don't play a lot personally. But like I respect how good they're getting.
Yeah, you're better off for it. They're like there's so many
Huge
better things you could do with your time. So, have you ever heard of a game called Escape from Tarkov?
No.
Okay. So this is like a crazy milsim style game. It's an obsession. Mm-hmm. If you really want to truly enjoy the game, you have to punish yourself by playing it for hours and hours and hours and dying and fucking up, and it's super complicated. It is borderline a lifestyle. My one buddy, shout out Chris, he watches the pod. I was unemployed for like 4 months, and he and I were playing it like every fucking day for like 8+ hours. It was the most degenerate shit ever. I wasn't proud of myself for how much I was sitting in front of a computer.
Yeah, but video games will get you like that, man.
Oh my God. But at a certain point, like there's only so much enjoyment I can get out of that, because I feel like you're the same way. You know, I like to be productive and do shit. And at a certain point, you're like, I'm not getting anything done. Like, so it really is like something that you have to play obsessively, grind, if you will, if you're somebody who's part of the non-sexually, if you're part of the video game community. So in 2021, right around the time, this really isn't funny, but it was shocking. You should watch this. There's this guy, his name's Veritas. The name of the channel on YouTube is Veritas, and I think he also streams. He plays this game, right? He's the one who did this voice essay, where the majority of the videos that he puts out are about video games. This is like video game adjacent, as you'll soon find out, but this was essentially like a murder mystery. If you are, I'm going to put it up right here, a screenshot, and I'll put a link in the description. If you are a real true crime murder fanatic, you will lose your mind over this video. It's insane. So there's this guy, his name's Chandler Halderson. He lives in Wisconsin.
Okay. He
is a fan of this game. But long story short, this is why this voice essay is just insanely good, because it's the way that the guy like produced it and set the story up. Anyways, this kid had set up this insane web of lies. He told his parents that he had graduated with a degree in solar technologies from this Madison Advanced Technical Academy, some kind of like career aptitude school thing, trade school type thing where he could get a job.
Yep.
He told his girlfriend and his parents that he was potentially getting a job at SpaceX and that he had to go to Florida to like meet with them. This elaborate web of lies. He worked at American Family Insurance, and you come to find out it was all not true. It was just this insane web of lies that he had told his girlfriend and his family and all these people, strictly to sit at home all day and play video games.
He's an addict. That's like addict behavior.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, long story short, I mean, the story is tragic, and it's just insane because it's a study on like human beings as a whole. Like, you just never know like what some people will do. So long story short, his dad became suspicious. You know, he was getting a little too crazy with the lies, and dad decided to do a little background checking. So he contacted the school that he had allegedly, because he was telling his parents, they haven't sent me my diploma and they're giving me the runaround at the office, administrator's office or whatever. So his dad pretended to be him, called them, talked to a guy, and essentially found out his son had not done any of that shit.
Wow.
And he texted him and said, hey, so I talked to this guy at the school, like, we need to talk tonight. And on that day, it was July 1st, 2021, this kid killed his parents because they found out about all these insane lies, dismembered them, tried to burn parts of them in the fireplace in the house, and over the course of the week did all this insane shit to like scatter their body parts. Because he got found out for being like
a video
loser.
Game addict. Wow.
Instead of just going, you know what, Dad, I did fuck up. I'll get a job now and I'll get my, because I think he was like maybe 22 or 23, like a young guy.
Yeah. Dude, how good was this video game for you to dismember your parents and try to burn them in the family fireplace?
I am embarrassed to admit this.
I wonder if he was like playing in between.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Yo, where you at? Just give me 1 second.
You
are in a bad.
Well, no. So the fucked up thing is this game, it's called Escape from Tarkov. The whole premise of the game is you are a member of a paramilitary group in this war-torn area of Russia.
Okay.
So a lot of there's American weapons. It's cool. The game is dope. It's extremely detailed. It's not great that it causes people to potentially commit murder.
Yeah.
But,
it's just that good. It's that fucking
so good. I just need the game. God damn it. But in the game, like one of the staple weapons is called a SKS. It's essentially like a Russian AR. You know, or
Okay.
It's like similar to that. It's a gun that's frequently used there. One of his friends that he played the game with came out to visit him. This was pre-murder. And I'm like setting myself up to do so many bleeping edits, but fuck it, whatever. Gifted him one of these guns, and it was the one he smoked his parents with. There's a lot of details that they didn't know, but like essentially the other cool part is the police were not fucking around when they investigated this, and they got like the reason they found out that his dad around the time that he killed his dad is because of Apple Health updates on his phone, because it would like ping through his watch and stuff. So that's how they found out. And the police, like, I mean, this kid set up a house of cards. Like they were going to come down. Like it's insane what he did for a whole week before they finally was like, oh, you're being arrested for murdering your parents, to try to cover it up.
Yeah.
The lengths that he went through, and he kind of bamboozled a few people, but the police really went the extra mile to go, nope, we're going to nail you to the wall. And then I'm telling you, if you're watching this, the story is not great. It's pretty grisly. The guy who does the voice essay, he does it very eloquently. Like he does it justice as he pays respect to the victims. He doesn't reveal too much like crazy stuff where you're like, ooh, this is gross and like insane, even though it is. And then at the end, it just closes with the judge's like essential like sentencing, because they put him away forever. He goes, the only way you will ever come back to society is to receive a decent burial that you denied your parents. Because like I said, he scattered them. It was whew, like intense. Like, isn't that shit insane? Have you ever done that and like clicked on a random video on YouTube? You're like, I did not know I was getting that ride today.
Yeah, that's the danger of YouTube, man. Wow.
But that's wild, man. Like there's so many. It's funny because like being somebody named Kyle, if I ever ask for an energy drink, people would just automatically give me a Monster. You know, they're not gonna be like, I hate Monster, by the way. But, you know.
Well, thank you for speaking your truth.
But they would assume that I'm like the type of person that would do some shit like that. But it's wild, man.
Fuck,
I mean, speaking of like AI and even stuff on YouTube and social media apps, Instagram, TikTok, death scrolling is real, and it's just insane how sucked in you can get.
I hate it. I hate it, and it's like, you know, like really smart people have talked about it. It's just like billions upon billions of dollars of like Silicon Valley investments and Stanford graduates and Harvard graduates are like pointing directly at your brain every time you look at your phone.
Yeah.
It's just like trying to keep you on it.
Yeah. It's crazy how that shit works though. Like going back to what I was saying earlier about, I saw a couple videos where like this guy was like, oh, I'm going to buy this dead account that has like 150,000 subs. And he showed how he was going to revive it. But it's like, it wasn't his content. It was him doing what the algorithm will push out and feed and like give him numbers and engagement. It's just like, the fuck.
Does anyone know how the algorithm like really works? Are there certain things that you can feed it that it will like
100 fucking percent?
I wonder, like, is there like a person who manipulates that, or is it like ever evolving? Like,
no, guaranteed that stuff is controlled by a very, very, very expensive computer program. But, you know, it's just telling them what the analytics are saying. But there are people that 100% know. There's all kinds of YouTubers and fuck that. Honestly, fuck them for gatekeeping this shit, dude.
Yeah.
And fuck the people who have like repost and clip pages where you're reposting shit that's not even your content and making money on it. Like, shame on you. I think that shit is so fucking shameful. It's not your content. And if you're making money on it, then whoever's video it was the original should get a fucking cut.
Right. Like
that shit is fucked up.
We're so on like the Wild West frontier of that, because like I know exactly what you mean. It's like there are pages with thousands upon millions of subscribers and followers, that all they do is like repost other like people's stuff. The original producer of the content should get something.
Well, okay, he's in a whole shitstorm of a mess right now because of his friends. I don't think he's a really great person either. Mr. Beast, have you heard of Mr. Beast?
Oh yeah, he's in some hot water right now.
Yeah, I mean, good riddance to Mr. Beast. Goodbye, Jimmy. I bid you farewell. I'm so happy that you're leaving. I guarantee you're a shitty person. But I mean, he has it. He's like a YouTube scientist. Like, he knows exactly what to do to get his shit to. I mean, he's at a point where he could record a video of him sitting somewhere twiddling his thumbs and it'll have 100 million views.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, like,
that shit is insane to me.
Yeah, but it's just because like he's already like the biggest like YouTube producer. He had like some weird people on his staff, right?
He probably still does, but the one was a transsexual woman who was formerly a man named Chris Tyson, who now goes by Ava Chris Tyson, and presents as a woman, but also has a wife and a child. It's a very convoluted situation, one that I personally wouldn't want to be in. But it also turns out this person's kind of a monster and is like also sending in what the fuck is going on in Hollywood and entertainment and streamers? Why are we talking to kids?
Yeah, it's strange.
Why?
It's strange.
Like, it just makes no sense. You have to be conscious of that in this day and age on the internet. You have to be careful of how you interact with people, what information you're giving them, and also not like sending sexual things to somebody you shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just wild.
Seems like common
people
sense.
are so fucking dumb. But it just goes to show, like, you get to a certain level and you're just like, I could do anything. I could do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Watch me shit in the street. It'll be fine. Nobody will care.
Nuts, dude.
But that is the time that we live in, because like it's a 24-hour news cycle, and then it's like it's not even just news, it's everything on social media that's not like real news, but it's news that the phone's feeding to you because it knows you so well.
Our news cycle is like so quick. It's like things that happened like 9 days ago become old news, and like you forget about it, right? Like the Trump assassination, we just completely stopped talking about that.
I mean, and also that's done with a purpose, because I don't watch the news. My dad, bless him, he likes to watch the news. I don't hate on him for that. I don't get involved in politics. I don't vote. Yeah. I'm sorry if you're one of those people. Do you vote?
If there's a candidate that I feel strongly about
okay, I respect that. I respect that answer. There never has been for me, so that's why I don't vote. You know what I'm saying? But it's wild, because just by casually looking at things that are on the news and on, MSNBC and CNN and Fox and stuff, when you see something that is on there like consistently over a period of time, you're like, ooh, you're really trying to get this in there. Because it hasn't gone away, because there's so much news and so many other things you have to tell me, but you keep coming back to this and like hitting it again. And that shit is scary to me.
It is interesting because to choose what is going to be on the news, it's like you have such a large swath of like current events to choose from, like from so many different countries, that it is interesting. It would be interesting to see like what the process is by like what is actually selected.
I mean, I feel like when you're a network news channel, they're telling you. You do local news, but then there's certain things they're telling you. Have you ever seen? Joe Rogan did it on his show, and I think I talked about it on a couple other podcasts, where it was showing like all of these regional news networks together at the same time. And the anchors are reading the exact same thing verbatim, and it's all about how
those guys are actors.
They're doing it with I understand that that's like part of the thing of being a news personality or a news anchor, but also like I'm not trying to be indoctrinated or have my mind fiddled with by you, but that's just like scary when you see all these people, and the whole statement is about integrity and we wouldn't lie to you and all this stuff, but it's like it's something that they're spoon feeding to everyone, and they're making them, they're like, here, read this, dummy, into the camera, and it's like, ooh, shit, that's You just got to be a higher level thinker, man.
Well, yeah, and then I think people like from our generation and people that are like a little bit younger, like I don't know, Gen X and below, everyone knows that. Like the second that I turn on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or whatever it is, I know that I'm being fed a very carefully curated message meant to make me think like a certain way. So like I'm able to like distance myself between like what I'm like hearing and listening to and like actual reality. I feel like people like, you know, maybe like older people aren't able to do that because like they grew up with it.
I mean, that I like that take because you really did. That was like your information central. Right. That was back in the day before we had cell phones in our pockets and you only had a home phone and like, okay.
Yeah, because it used to be, it's like if you grew up like during the days of like Walter Cronkite or like, before the internet, what you saw on TV, you're like, oh, this is what is happening in the world. Like this is what I need to know in order to be updated with current events. But now it's like, like we have phones, like the internet, and you know, like kind of what we've all discovered in the past like 4 years with like COVID and like
we're used to bullshit. We're at the point where like, nope, that's bullshit. Like bullshit. We're just gonna point it out immediately.
I've always said that like network news is essentially sleep ASMR for demented baby boomers. That's what it essentially is, dude. It's just like whatever it is, you just sit there and the left keeps on Donald Trump and then you just fall asleep. Like that's what it is. That's what it is.
That's the part that bothers me the most, man. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. As a union man, as an American, I need to tell everybody we don't have to agree, but we should all be able to have some motherfucking solidarity.
Yeah.
As Americans. And come together and put our foot down on certain things and be like, you know what? We're not going to stand for this shit anymore. We're not going to let this happen. Like, this is what being an American is all about. We got to stop being so fucking soft, people. We got to have a little fucking solidarity, like, for sure.
I think we're getting there, man. I think like, you know, it's like you turn on the news and like you scroll on Instagram and TikTok and like, you know, it makes you think that like, oh, like we're all so divided. But if you just like go walk around like in Walmart or in the grocery store or just like sit in a park and like sit with people, like everyone's like friendly.
Pretty much on the same page.
Yeah.
I would agree. That's why I like doing this podcast shit because like for the most part, you find out we're not so different.
Not at all, man.
You know?
Not at all, man. I don't have any booked shows coming up as of late. I mean, this last week was crazy. I was at Planet 13, and then I was at Notoriety 2 nights in a row. I'm sure I'll be back at Backstop in a couple of Mondays from now. But just Wise Guys like every Tuesday and Wednesday. The shows around town, and if any booked like shows come up or anything, I'll let you know.
Hell yeah, man! Working on the craft, and I will put it on the Instagram. Man. Fuck yeah! Man. Thanks for coming on again.
Thank you, Kyle.
It was a delight talking to you.
Always
as
a pleasure,
usual.
Brother. Yes, sir.
We'll have you back on again in the future.
I'll
have you back on again in the future. I got to remember that I'm doing this solo.
And you're doing a great job of it, man.
We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Naturals Pod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at The Naturals Pod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.